A young man put a dead woman's face on a t-shirt. Not just any woman, the murdered mother of the most dangerous man in hip-hop. And the moment 50 Cent saw it, the entire music industry held its breath. Before we go any further, let's establish who we're talking about, because this story has layers that most videos aren't willing to peel back. On one side, Curtis James Jackson III, known to the world as 50 Cent. A man who grew up in Jamaica, Queens, selling crack at 13 years old after his mother Sabrina, a drug dealer herself, was murdered in her sleep when he was just 8 years old. That wound never closed. It shaped everything: the armor, the ambition, the ruthlessness, the loyalty, and the quiet grief he rarely shows the world. On the other side, Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., T.I., the King of the South, a Grammy-winning rapper, actor, and entrepreneur from Atlanta who built a legitimate legacy over 3 decades in the game. His son, King Harris, 20 years old, raised in the spotlight, trying to carve out his own name in a culture where legacy is everything, and where using your father's beef to get attention is a trap that always backfires. And then there is the third figure in this story, the shadow of 30 women. Women who, since 2021, have stepped forward with allegations against T.I. and his wife Tiny, Tamika Harris. Allegations of drugging, sexual assault, trafficking, and coercion. Allegations that were never criminally prosecuted. Allegations that T.I. and Tiny have denied at every turn. Allegations that the world had largely moved past, until 50 Cent decided to remind everyone they still exist. To understand why we are here in March 2026, you have to go back to 2007. I was arrested with an arsenal of illegal weapons, machine guns, silencers, the kind of firepower that ends careers. He cooperated with federal authorities and received a reduced sentence. 50 Cent called it snitching. I called it survival. No verdict was ever reached on who was right. The beef was put on ice. For 19 years. Then, February 2026 arrived. I appeared on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Nightcap, promoting his Kill the King album. In the interview, T.I. claimed that 50 Cent had dodged a versus battle with him, implying 50 was scared. 50 Cent saw the interview, did not respond with a diss track, did not call a press conference. He responded the way 50 always responds, with Instagram trolling, memes, and a slow smile that tells you he's already 3 steps ahead. T.I. escalated. He dropped 4 diss tracks in 2 days. The internet went wild. Sides were being chosen. Hip-hop Twitter hadn't been this alive since Drake and Kendrick. And then T.I.'s son stepped in. Damani Harris dropped a diss track. Fans said it was decent. Then King Harris went further. King dropped a freestyle, and in the video, he was wearing a t-shirt with the face of 50 Cent's dead mother printed on the front. Sabrina Jackson, murdered in 1988, unsolved for years. The one person 50 Cent has never, not once, allowed to become a punchline. King Harris put her face on a shirt, and that single decision changed everything about this story. T.I. publicly said he was uncomfortable. He admitted his son crossed a line. He wished King had not gotten involved. That should have been the end of the story. It was not. Now we reach the part of this story that most videos are too afraid to cover with full accuracy. So let's do what nobody else is doing. Let's lay out the facts as they were reported. No embellishment, no fiction, just what is documented. In February 2021, attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn held a press conference representing more than 30 women who came forward with allegations against T.I. and Tiny Harris. The accusations spanned 15 years. They included alleged forced drugging with GHB, alleged sexual assault and coercion, alleged trafficking at parties and in hotel rooms across Georgia, California, and Las Vegas. The New York Times spoke to 5 of the accusers and reviewed corroborating messages and photographs. T.I. and Tiny denied everything, comprehensively, consistently, and aggressively. Tiny called the claims vicious lies. T.I. filed a defamation lawsuit against one of the accusers, Sabrina Peterson, claiming she fabricated her story. The Los Angeles District Attorney declined to prosecute in 2021, citing statute of limitations. A federal civil lawsuit by a Jane Doe was dismissed in August 2024. No case was ever filed. No arrest was ever made. Now here is where this story becomes something far more complex than a celebrity feud. In July 2025, former family friend Sabrina Peterson, the same woman T.I. sued for defamation, resurfaced with new claims. The timing? Just weeks after Tiny publicly commented in support of the verdict in the Diddy trial. The internet immediately connected the dots. Could the same accountability wave that caught Diddy now be pointing in T.I. and Tiny's direction? Comment below. If the allegations were never prosecuted, does 50 Cent have the right to make a documentary about them? Yes or no? Here is the angle that nobody, and I mean nobody, is covering correctly. This is not just a beef. This is not just drama. 50 Cent is running a formula. A proven, documented, devastating formula. And T.I. is about to become the next name on its list. Step 1 of the formula. Identify a target with serious, unresolved allegations. Step 2. Wait for that target to give you a personal reason, a provocation, a public challenge, a moment where attacking them looks like accountability instead of revenge. Step 3. Produce the documentary. Step 4. Watch the algorithm do the rest. 50 Cent ran this exact formula on Diddy. He announced the Diddy documentary over a year before federal charges were filed. People called it a personal vendetta. They laughed. They said Diddy was untouchable. Then Sean Combs' The Reckoning dropped on Netflix in December 2025. It hit 21.8 million views in its first 6 days. It went #1 in 50 countries. It hit 50 million total views. Nobody was laughing anymore. So when 50 Cent posted on Instagram on March 5th, 2026, referencing a documentary called Surviving T.I. and Tiny, with the caption, "Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy doc? Dame thought I wasn't coming. I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're gonna ask about your 20 sexual assault cases." That wasn't trolling. That was a warning, delivered with surgical precision. And here is the detail that makes it truly dangerous. The name is deliberate. Surviving T.I. and Tiny. Not T.I. Exposed. Not the T.I. files. Surviving. The same word from Surviving R. Kelly, the 2019 Lifetime docuseries that ultimately contributed to R. Kelly receiving a 30-year federal prison sentence. 50 Cent knows exactly what that title communicates to viewers, to streaming platforms, to journalists, and to juries. He chose it deliberately. Think about what 50 is actually building here. He has the infrastructure, a production company, G Unity Productions. He has the track record, the Diddy doc, the Power franchise. He has the motive, 19 years of simmering beef. He has the moment. King Harris just handed him the most viral catalyst imaginable. And he has 30 women willing to tell their story on camera. T.I. posted a counter-announcement on March 9th, saying he was developing his own documentary, Surviving 50 Cent. That should have been a flex. It read like panic. As of this video, here is where every player in the story stands right now. 50 Cent has posted and deleted the Surviving T.I. and Tiny announcement. But deletion means nothing on the internet. Screenshots live forever. No streaming platform has confirmed distribution yet. Netflix has not publicly commented. But remember, 50 and Netflix did not announce the Diddy doc publicly until it was already in post-production. The silence is not absence. The silence is strategy. T.I. is promoting his Kill the King album. He is doing interviews. He is performing. He is trying to keep the conversation about music. But every interviewer, every single one, is asking about 50 Cent, King Harris, and the documentary. His promo tour has become a press conference about allegations he has spent 5 years trying to erase. King Harris has gone quiet. Not off the internet entirely, but noticeably quieter. No new diss tracks, no live streams defending the shirt. T.I. himself told media he did not enjoy his kids getting involved, and that King specifically crossed a line by putting 50's mother on that shirt. That public acknowledgement, a father saying his own son went too far, that is the rarest thing in hip-hop. Accountability from within the family. Tiny Harris has posted supportive messages about her family on social media, but has not directly addressed the documentary threat. Her attorney has not issued a statement. T.I.'s defamation lawsuit against Sabrina Peterson, the accuser he sued, is scheduled to go to trial on June 9, 2026 in Los Angeles. That trial will put the allegations back on front pages, regardless of whether 50 Cent ever finishes the documentary. T.I. filed the lawsuit. T.I. chose the courtroom. And in that courtroom, the allegations will be presented as evidence. Not by 50 Cent, by T.I.'s own legal team. The hip-hop community is split in real time. Artists who once feuded with 50, Ja Rule, Fat Joe, even Cameron, have largely stayed out of this one. Rick Ross publicly praised King Harris's diss tracks, but Ross knows better than anyone what happens when 50 Cent decides to stop joking and start documenting. He's been on the receiving end of that machine. The real question the industry is asking quietly, not on podcasts, not on Instagram, but in text messages and phone calls, is this. What happens if the surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary does to T.I. what the Diddy doc did to Combs? Here is what almost every other video about this topic missed, and it reframes everything you just watched. The defamation lawsuit, the one T.I. filed against Sabrina Peterson, was originally filed to silence an accuser. But by taking it to trial, T.I. has created a public legal arena where the allegations will be examined, cross-examined, and documented in open court. That trial begins June 9, 2026. It will generate news coverage for weeks. Every outlet that covered the initial allegations in 2021 will be in that Los Angeles courtroom. And 50 Cent doesn't have to produce a single frame of footage to keep the story alive. T.I.'s own lawsuit does it for him. Now, consider the timeline. 50 Cent announced the Diddy documentary in January 2024. Diddy was arrested in September 2024. The documentary dropped December 2025. That is a 2-year arc from announcement to cultural detonation. 50 Cent is announcing the T.I. documentary in March 2026. The defamation trial is in June 2026. If 50 follows his own timeline, the documentary could arrive anywhere between late 2026 and mid-2027, perfectly timed to drop when the legal proceedings are generating headlines. This isn't coincidence. This is a content calendar. And here is the detail that truly reframes this entire situation. 50 Cent's mother, Sabrina Jackson, was murdered when he was 8 years old. She was killed after her boyfriend put a drug in her drink. She was rendered unconscious, and gas was left on in the house. She died of carbon monoxide poisoning. The method used to silence her? A substance in her drink. The same method that appears in the allegations against T.I. and Tiny. Whether 50 Cent makes this connection explicitly in the documentary or not, the parallel exists. And for a man who turned his mother's murder into his life's purpose, that parallel is not lost on him. This is not just beef. This is deeply, profoundly personal. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you about the June trial changes everything about how this ends. So here is the question this entire video has been building toward. And I want you to really sit with it before you answer in the comments. The allegations against T.I. and Tiny were never prosecuted. The DA declined. The civil case was dismissed. By the legal standard of this country, T.I. and Tiny are innocent. But by the standard of hip-hop accountability, the same standard that brought down R. Kelly, the same standard now applied to Diddy, 30 women said something happened. Their voices were heard, and then largely forgotten. Until 50 Cent decided to use a personal beef as the vehicle to amplify them again. So the question is not whether T.I. is guilty. The courts have not said he is. The question is whether 50 Cent's motives disqualified the message. Can a documentary be both a weapon in a personal war and a genuine platform for real victims? Or does the motive poison the well, turning what could be accountability journalism into a hit job dressed as justice? 50 Cent didn't create the allegations. He just remembered them when everyone else chose to forget. Leave your take below, because here is what I know for certain. Those 30 women did not invent 50 Cent's beef with T.I. They were there before this beef existed. They came forward before King Harris was born into the spotlight. They told their stories when there was nothing to gain and everything to lose. Whether 50 Cent's documentary serves justice or serves revenge does not change the fact that their stories deserve to be heard. What do you think? Comment below. Does the motive matter if the outcome helps survivors? Yes or no? Here is what we know is coming, and what nobody can predict yet. The defamation trial begins June 9th. T.I. is suing Sabrina Peterson. That means Peterson's legal team will present her allegations as their defense. Every detail, every claim, every piece of evidence will be entered into public court records. And 50 Cent will be watching every single filing. No streaming platform has confirmed the surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary. But 50 Cent's Instagram post wasn't deleted for long. The internet saw it. The industry saw it. And if even one woman from the original group of 30 agrees to appear on camera, the documentary becomes real, regardless of when it airs. The threat alone has already achieved its primary objective. It has made every journalist, every interviewer, every fan see T.I. through a different lens. The King of the South is now being asked to explain his crown. And then there's this. What does King Harris do next? Does he stay quiet and let his father navigate this? Does he double down and risk escalating a situation that has already moved past music, past Instagram, past anything a diss track can resolve? Or does he look at what he set in motion? A shirt, a moment of bravado, a dead woman's face, and understand for the first time what it truly costs to step into a war you were never built for. Zoom out. Because what is happening between 50 Cent and T.I. right now is bigger than two rappers with a 19-year-old argument. What we are watching is the transformation of hip-hop from a culture that protected its own into a culture that is eating itself alive and calling it accountability. Surviving R. Kelly led to a conviction. The Diddy documentary preceded 50 million views and a federal trial. Now, 50 Cent is building a third chapter in a series that has already proved it can destroy careers and legacies and send men to prison. The question hip-hop has never been forced to answer before: what happens when the weapon is real, but the man holding it has personal reasons for pulling the trigger? Because 50 Cent is not a journalist, he is not a prosecutor, he is not an advocate for survivors. He is a businessman with a grudge, a track record, a platform, and a title. And if his documentary does what the last one did, if it reaches 50 million people and shapes how the world sees T.I., then hip-hop will have to answer a question it has never had to answer before. Do we hold people accountable for things the legal system chose not to prosecute? And if the answer is yes, who decides which stories get the documentary treatment and which ones get buried? T.I. built a legacy over 30 years. He went to prison. He came back. He built a family, a brand, a cultural institution. 50 Cent built an empire out of grief, out of 9 bullet wounds, out of a childhood nobody should have survived. They are, in their own way, mirrors of each other. 2 men who made it out of impossible circumstances. 2 men who now stand across from each other with the full weight of their histories raised like weapons. And somewhere between them, 30 women are still waiting for the world to decide if their stories matter. That is the question this story leaves unanswered. Not who wins the beef, not whether the documentary gets made, not even whether T.I. and Tiny are guilty or innocent. The real question, the one hip-hop has never had the courage to ask, is this: when accountability becomes ammunition, who protects the truth?